Alright, this one seems to be working now.
Okay.
Because,
So what is it linked to the?
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I'm gonna give it to him. Okay.
yeah, we'll do that. I also have to update this link on the social media platforms though, because this is a different event.
Okay.
Yeah, so. Let me go over to YouTube. Okay.
All right. Is it live on our channel?
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out right now. It should be, but I gotta go over to YouTube and see. Okay, YouTube letting that up.
Viet, can you hear me? Or
Yeah, I can hear you.
okay. Just want to check this.
Okay.
Just we'll make sure we're live too, right? On our channel. Okay. Yeah, I think it is live right now.
Yeah, should be live.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we should be good.
All right.
You just have to share this link. Hold on. I don't know if they made it. Yeah, no. Okay, do you want to go with Zoom?
I'm sorry. Yeah. So go to YouTube. Yeah, you go to YouTube.
Here we go.
All right. Okay. Should we just go ahead and do this hidden while you're checking in the background?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
It should be up and running now, so you guys want to proceed? Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So, hello everyone. My name is Truong. I'm the president of the CSS Club, Computer Science Society at Cal Poly Pomona, and I'm here to present to you Viet Truong. Viet Truong, can you just talk a bit about yourself?
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me today. So my name is Viet. So here's some background information. I was born in Vietnam and I went to school there until third grade, which I moved to America and studied here. In high school, I was involved in a couple clubs, mostly just leadership clubs. We have ASB. I was dance commissioner in sophomore year. And then junior and senior year, moved up to vice president and ASB president by then. I was also involved in some class office, was class vice president my freshman year and class president my sophomore year. And over the course of and he'll be president by then. High school, I accomplished about like 500 plus community service hours. As for hobbies and interests, I'm really interested in dancing and gaming and card magic. Not that great of a card magician, but I do it for fun, like sleight of hand tricks and stuff. Um, yeah, so it's a quick video of me dancing. Really want to show this, but here we go.
I think it's good. I think it's good. Sure. Cool, and also you guys can go and check out the link in that also, because we're gonna share you a sneak peek of that, what it is.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if the audio is sync, but can you guys hear the music or no?
I don't think I can hear the music.
All right, let me try that again then. So, share screen, share audio, and here we go. Cool. If you're interested, you can check me out on YouTube at Viet Truong. Yep, shameless plug, but there it is.
No, I think it's nice.
Cool, let's get back to this.
Nice. I think yeah. So the maybe you guys see on the screen, maybe it's a little bit shaky, or it's a little bit shaky, or it's it skipped the frame. So just check out on the actual YouTube link if you guys have a chance later on. Okay. So yeah.
Yeah.
So Viet.
So that's.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I do outside of school. Some dance. Cool. As for technical information, I went to UC Berkeley from 2016 to 2019. I did a program of double majoring in electrical engineering and computer science. And for my internships, I did an internship at Kohl's my sophomore year and software engineer at LinkedIn my junior year. And currently, I'm working at Amazon full-time. I do some Alexa video devices backend, so all your Alexa video, like Fire TV Cube, Alexa Echo devices, and all that stuff. Yeah, my team handles all those kind of service, so it's great that we have like a customer that we can like support and get feedback from. So it's a very fun job. So I enjoy working here. So that is some of my background information technical wise. I graduated December 2019 and I got to work around March of 2020. So it's pretty recent. I've been working at Amazon for about like half a year. So yeah. Cool. I will also do referrals for you if you are interested. So since I don't really know your background information, I would need to have like a 1 hour pre-refer interview with you to see your technical skills and see if you could be a good candidate for getting a job at Amazon. So if you're interested, you can email me here on the bottom. I'll just leave you the screen real quick. Yeah, so the process goes, do a quick pre-referral interview, and then I will submit your referral. And if your resume looks good, Amazon will send you a coding challenge. And if you pass the coding challenge, you will get a phone interview. And if you pass the phone interview, you will get a virtual on-site. Usually we do on-site in Seattle, and they pay for your plane ticket to just fly there and do your on-site interview. But since, you know, it's COVID, everything is virtual. Cool. Yeah, that's pretty much all the information I have on these slides.
Okay. So yeah, thank you so much for your presentation. I think it was really great.
Yeah,
So with that, I want to talk more about your education development, right? So back then, since you've done a lot
sure.
in your high school, what kind of like where were you born, or the mentality that you had before? What are some like what are some expectations? Did you have any expectation from your parents, your family, where you first where you were born, or it just happened that you kind of be engaging all in these activities by yourself, and just grow by yourself.
For sure. So definitely expectation from my parents because we're immigrants from like Vietnam. There are obviously some like expectations like need to do well because like we kind of sacrifice like our life in Vietnam of like middle class to move here and become low income immigrants, especially. But they don't really put a lot of burden on me. They take care of themselves when I was away for college. And in college, I just pretty much work like small part time job, have internships here and there, and just use those money to just support myself and not burden too much on my parents. So in that case, I guess expectation from my parents is to survive without relying too much on them. Yeah.
I see. So I think yeah, you touch on a point that it's really core that you were able to sustain yourself, right? But also
Yeah.
let's go on to the like when you were in classes and you were like studying. Obviously there's some field of there's some field that, let's say for example, mathematics, right? Or some people are excels at creative size, art size. So which fields are you excelling
For
at
sure.
in school, and do you use your skill in real life?
Yeah, that's a good question. Obviously, if I'm in like the engineering major, I enjoy like doing math and like science and stuff. So obviously, I think math is one of the subject I excel at. Mostly because it's intuitive. You can always arrive at one solution, and it's not like English where you have like different ways to get to or different ways to portray like the same thing. So I like math, and I do get inspired by these like um, mathematical, I guess, um, how do you call it? Concepts, yeah, mathematical concepts. Most of my dance moves are actually inspired by geometric shapes. So
Wow,
yeah, that's
that,
something I apply
that's
to
really cool.
life. Yeah, for
Plus,
interesting.
yeah, if you guys want to check out the YouTube channel, you know more about what it talks about when you say geometric shapes. Uh, all right, so
Yeah,
um, yeah, so I will say like when you go into from your high school experiences, right? When you go to like college, it is there at any point that you realize that you'll be doing what you do now, uh, perhaps like software engineering, perhaps dancing, for example. So yeah, just tell us more about that.
hmm So in high school, at my high school at least, we didn't really have like computer science classes, so there's not really much exposure to what I want to do in high school. It's mostly because I enjoy like one of my hobbies is gaming, so I was like, hey, like kind of want to get into gaming and develop like games just to play for fun by myself. So that's what got me to this place. And CS wasn't what I realized it was. I thought it wasn't like, oh, you can code out a game and just play it. You need like a lot of people to do that kind of stuff. So yeah, so I took my first CS class in college, and I guess like it made me realize that, oh, this is what I want to do in life because there's a lot of complexity and a lot of things you can create through just coding. So I guess I got inspired by my first class in college, and here I
Wow.
am.
So okay,
Yeah.
so back in high school, you didn't have the experience, but then when you go into college, you took the first CS class, and that's when you realize you you basically like the environment and the coding challenges. So um,
Yeah.
yeah, for all the freshmen out there, definitely be inspired, right? Be creative. Like if you like to do something, just go ahead and do it, right? So nice. So let's talk about your current career now. Then
Sure. Sure.
the first question would be, what would you say about the because you said before that you wanted to create something, right? So what makes you interested in being in software engineering field specifically?
Yeah, so it's like software engineering, it's like it might sounds really like selfish, but as you know, like software engineering, after you get a software engineering degree, you get into the field and you can make like six-figure salary, like without being like a doctor where you can go to like 8 years of school, and you also make around the same amount of money. So obviously, like money is a big part of it, right? Because you put in less effort for a huge amount of money. But besides like the money aspect of it, like I said, developing and like seeing your impact in the world. Amazon, we work on Alexa video devices, and you can see your impact on customers. Like we develop new features, and they're like, "Oh, how would customer react to this?" And you can see how your work impacts like millions of people worldwide, because a lot of people own an Alexa device in my case. So like we can see that, oh, they're using this feature, and you just feel proud that this is what you created and people are using it. So
Wow.
Yeah.
I see. So making impactful statement.
Yeah.
For the work. So I see. So obviously you must like this job a lot and basically passionate with what you do, right? So
Yeah.
my next question would be, how can you tell if you like the job or not? Because you said a few things about how your work is impacting millions of lives and people. So yeah, can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so obviously, like if you get industry work in computer science, you would have like a 9 to 5 drag, right? Because you wake up at 9, you go to work, and then 5 you get home, and basically just stare at a computer all day. It's still gonna drag out, right? Every day it's not gonna be like, oh, I'm so excited to get to work. You'd rather just sit back and enjoy the weekend. But I think you can tell that you like your current job a lot is you just enjoy doing the work. Like you show up to work today every day and you're like, oh, you get sucked into this problem. Even like when you get stuck, you're like, oh, I need to figure this as a solution. And by the time you finish work, you're like, oh wow, the time passes by really quickly, right? Because you're so like sucked into that problem. And another, I guess, point is that you have a good work-life balance. You would like your work if after 5, you know that you won't get paid or like you won't be bothered by your coworker, right? Because that's your personal time. So I think you would enjoy your work if you just have a good work-life balance and you show up to work and you enjoy just solving the problems.
I see.
It's very cliche, but
no, I completely understand. And being being in your shoes, like solving problem, will always be something that because for example, right, we do homework, and a lot of time we get stuck on homework, and then we don't. So I think in that sense, it kind of relate in a way. So.
Mhm.
What advice would you give to your younger self at the start of your career? So,
Well, I'm barely, I think, in the beginning of my career because I'm barely 6 months in, but I think it applies to school as well. It's just to not rush into development, right? Because if you have a project, let's say for schoolwork, you don't want to just rush into development because if you rush into development without any design or like outlines, you're gonna eventually face bugs, right? And bugs are basically just programming like errors that show up because you didn't think things through. And when you don't think things through, these bugs could cost you like hours of sitting at your computer figuring out why it doesn't work, right? So I would say that just really work carefully and outline like certain things to make sure that you don't run into these bugs. And I guess for industry wise, aspects time extension if you need, because you don't want to rush your work and submit a code into production where customers are using it, and then eventually customer will be like running into errors, and then now it goes back to you, and then now everyone kind of know that you kind of submitted like a really bad code, so it affects your like title as well. So
I see. So take your time basically on doing.
yeah, take your time.
I see.
Yeah, and just write design docs and really just outline things. Just don't rush into development. Don't be like, oh, I understand how to solve this problem, and just write a code right away. So just make sure you outline things.
I think that's a lot of us. For me too, because I'm making mistakes like like a lot of times too. So okay, yeah. So So I would say um, let's say for example, if you were to become a software engineer, right? So one of the trait that you said that would be beneficial would be to take things slow, right? To design first, or to learn how to take it slow first, right? So if you were to hire someone within software engineering, and of course you have some work experiences, 6 months I think is more than enough. To what are some criteria for a successful candidate in your point of view?
Yeah, I think if I was like hiring people right now, probably you need to be a problem solver as like that's one of the most crucial thing. Like if you're going to CS, you need to get like a problem. You need to get like a problem statement, and then you need to arrive at some solution to address that problem, right? So obviously you need to be a good problem solver. You need to deliver results. So like if I ask you to solve this in a day, right, then you kind of need to meet my expectation. And if you think you can't do it in a day, you need to say, oh, like this complexity, blah, blah, blah. And if I take into consideration this, then it would take 2 days, etc. So you need to give me why it would take longer than 2 days to deliver the result I'm expecting, right? Because that also like bring up like good skills such as, oh, you're considering other problems that might arise when you're delivering the solution. So that also helps you with your problem solver ability. You need to be a good listener and designer. As I said before, if you don't design, you will run into a lot of errors. Good listener, just listen to your peers, take back their suggestion and feedback, and try to make your code better and run more efficiently, and make sure it's scalable as well.
I see. So then it goes to another problem. Like I remember you said before that that you should ask your manager for time extensions if that's if you think the complexity is too much. So let's say for example, if someone was to ask their manager approval, but they're scared or they don't have, because the manager has some seniority over that.
Obviously,
and so how would you tackle that?
I think like in the first place, you shouldn't be scared. Like you are a crucial member of the team, and if you are like scared, then you need to talk to the senior manager, as in like your manager is kind of like overstepping his boundary, etc. But in the industry you work, your manager really depends on you, so maybe you have a lot more power than you think you do, because your work depends on his like promo, right? Because if your team doesn't deliver, then he is known as a bad manager. So I think you should just straight up tell them like, oh, like I won't be able to deliver this, and if you want me to deliver this at this certain day, then the code quality will not be that good, and I can't guarantee there will be any bugs because I don't have time to consider scenarios that things might break. So, but I think if you're scared, I don't know how to address like you being scared, but you shouldn't be scared. Just trust, because you are actually like a huge aspect of the company. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So thank you so much for the advice. I guess we'll move on to that from that managing skill or being scared away to, let's say for example, the company's culture, right? Because you want to make sure that you work with the people that you want to work with. So I would say first off, like what makes you want to work for Amazon, right?
Yeah, obviously, like Amazon is such a huge company. We branch into like a lot of marketplaces. You obviously have Amazon.com where you do e-commerce, and like everyone is shopping online now since it's due to COVID. And like retail shopping is not as huge anymore because people know that online shopping, you can just look at things and just in one click you get it shipped straight to your door, and you don't have to like go outside and like buy stuff. So that's one of the field that we're branching into. I mean, already like I guess have a monopoly over, because e-commerce. We're also getting to cloud, right? Because you have heard of AWS, and AWS is actually also very huge right now. And we're getting to games as well. You have New World, you have Crucible. They're bringing another game from Korea over. So yeah, Amazon is getting big, and I'm proud to work at this company because like you don't know the possibility because they're such a huge company. They're so rich. Jeff Bezos is like the #1 man in the world right now. So like you have a lot of opportunity to switch into different like job markets, right? Because at Amazon, if you work at, let's say I don't like working at Alexa anymore, I can just switch over to Amazon Games and just do game development there. So you have a lot of like opportunity to change your career and like do things you like. You don't have to always stick at the same like job title. Yeah, so I think that's why I really like working at this company.
Wow. Okay, so I would say a lot of flexibility working at Amazon, and
Yeah,
I see. Okay, so that's
obviously, yeah.
perfect because I think that a lot of people sometimes they want to work in different field and they want to work in different technology field. So so that's really good to hear. So
Yeah.
let's move on.
Let me just take a couple seconds to address some comments here.
Oh, sure.
One from Ashley, right? So we said, how has COVID-19 affected your work? So it's really, really nice because you don't have to do a commute. So you also asked which location I work at. There are SoCal-based facilities. I work at the Irvine location. It's right next to Irvine Spectrum. So it's literally a 20-minute commute. I live really near you guys. I live in Garden Grove area, so yeah, it's like 20-minute commute for me. COVID-19 doesn't really affect my work that much because like CS-wise, you just have meetings and then you do your own coding work, and you can just code at home, code at work, basically the same thing. You just get zoned into your own work. So it doesn't really affect that much besides reducing your commute time. You wake up later and you get off work earlier. So that's always great. How have my work-life balance been like? I think for my team at least, it's really nice. At Amazon, we have like tiers where tier 0 is like the highest service, and tier 1, tier 2, etc. My service is tier 1, so if something breaks, it would only like break for my service and not other services. And for tier 0 services, other team manage that. And if something breaks, an internal Amazon system breaks, which means other services break. So for those teams, like your work-life balance might not be as great because you could get pings at like 12 a.m. if something goes down, right? And then you have to wake up and figure out a solution to fix that. So I think it really depends on your team. If you know that like people from Amazon like quit Amazon and go to other like places, it's probably because they're on one of these teams that are tier 0 services. So just make sure you choose your team wisely and know what your job description is. Yeah, moving on to what projects have you worked at Amazon? I think some of the questions in the future will address this, so I'll leave that for later. So yeah, let's get back to our discussion.
Sure. I mean, I'm just interested in the tiers because so for tier 0, you're supposed to be on call, right? You on call, right? So people can call you whatever time they want. And say that something breaks.
Mm-hmm. So at Amazon, you're in charge of your own service. So every team has their on-call rotation. My team has 11 people, and every week we rotate our on-calls. And so every 3 months, you're basically on call for your service. And you have to be on call for a week. So from Monday to the next Monday. But for tier 1 service, you don't really get pinged that much because if your service breaks, it's only your service that's breaking. But if you're on tier 0, you can imagine like other services be like, oh, why is my service breaking? And then it basically go back to you. So you would get a lot more pings. And that's why your work-life balance might not be as like good.
I see. Do you have the power to choose between different tiers or?
It depends on your team. So your tier depends on your service, right? Because so let's say tier 0 is like your database or your data storage, right? Because if something breaks on your data storage, like tier 1 services can't call like the data, and then that's why their service would fail because they're not able to retrieve data.
No bug. So, okay, then no bug. Yeah. Okay, all right.
Yeah, exactly, they'll bug you.
Okay, all right. So, wow. Okay, very new insight. So, a very good insight. So, then what is the company culture then? Let's say because like you have to balance between the work life, right? So what would you say is the company's culture is like?
Yeah, so Amazon company culture is very customer focused. There's this one thing that at every Jeff Bezos meeting, there's always an empty chair, and this empty chair represents a customer. So this is something like interesting that you can know about. Our culture is very, yeah, I'm serious. Yeah, it's very customer focused. So our customer comes first, right? So what Jeff Bezos would do is like, they would point to the empty chair and be like, oh, what would your customer think of this, as they discuss like solutions, right? So it's very customer focused. We even have like 14 leadership principles that focus on the customer. So if you're interested, you can look up Amazon leadership principles and you will see like 14 leadership principles. And all of our decisions are based on these principles. Like, oh, like if you would like to launch this new product, which one of these leadership principles would it address? And you need to fight for the leadership principles for your, like, I guess, your feature to get approved. So it's very customer focused.
I see. Okay, so of course, the leadership principle. If you ever get an interview at Amazon, the leadership principle is what you would focus on, because people would ask you a lot of questions based on the leadership principle. So
yeah, correct.
Let's go back to the first time you interviewed. Then well, you know, if they ask you what kind of leadership principle, because I imagine they would ask that in every interview. So
so Amazon interview is a little different. They give you like 40 minutes of coding like time and 20 minutes of behavioral time. And in this behavioral section, you would have to answer like some questions relating to these leadership principles. So what my advice to you would be that create like 3 or 4 stories and just match it to one of these leadership principles or cover some of them. Because how we judge if you pass or not, pass the interview or not, is does your stories hit any of these leadership principles, right? So like one of the leadership principle is that customer obsession, right? So let's say you work at a store and you go above and beyond to like support the customer somehow. You know, you need to give example of how you meet that leadership principle.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's very nice. I think I will definitely have to look into that more.
Yeah. So, definitely. If you start recruiting, you probably have to do a lot of research on your company and see what they're looking for.
I see. Okay. So to address Rachel's question. So what projects, what cool projects did you do, or you know how are these projects related to the company's value? So.
Right. Cool. One of the projects I worked on was the Fire TV stick. As you know, you have the Fire TV stick, you plug into the TV and you have a remote to click on it. And what my project did was they take the Fire TV stick and they pair it to the, which make it voice enabled. So you can tell your Echo to turn on the TV, switch channel, etc. And that would just allow you to, you know, like do it without having to go to the remote, press the voice control button, or like using the remote themselves. So this obviously focus on the leadership principle, right? It's customer obsession, because you want your customer to be able to use your remote or open like the TV apps without having to go like 5 meters to get the remote. Just lie in bed and be like, hey, Alexa, turn on the TV. Alexa, go to Netflix, etc. So this was just one of those leadership principle. And if you don't know, we have a thing called the Fire TV Cube, which is already integrated with Alexa. So you can just be like, Alexa, turn on the TV, and then the Cube would do it for you. But the Cube came out like 3 years after the Fire TV stick. So incorporating the Fire TV stick with the Echo device would have the same functionality as the Fire TV Cube. So if you already own a Fire TV stick and an Echo device, you don't have to buy the Fire TV Cube, right? Because that would allow you to just sync the two together and just support remote like control. Yeah.
Wow. I see. Well, so there's a lot of like technologies involved. And I think the major principle would be how do you the customer obsession, right? So how do you make the customer do the least work for the best,
exactly,
the most efficient
way. Yeah, the best experience.
I see. Wow. Okay. So then
I think we do have a couple more questions. Does Amazon do anything to promote social life in quarantine? I think we just did. So our team, we try to do happy hour every Friday, where we just grab a beer at like 4 or 5, and then we just drink and like play video games. We play Tabletop Simulator. If you don't know what that is, it's basically just a Steam game where you can play board games together with your friends. Yeah, this is what we do besides just working like 9 to 5 every day. I think for CS job at least you don't need to do a 9 to 5. Some people I know do like 11 to 6, 11 to 7. So as long as you complete your work in a sprint, you should be good to go. Promoting social life, Amazon as a whole doesn't do it. It just really depends on your team. But my manager really just likes to have like social life and work-life balance. So that's why he promoted to do like a quick happy hour at the end of the week. Next question: what is one thing you don't like working at Amazon? If you have one reason. I think I don't like the deployment process that we have. It's good, like it's super good that you catch bugs in the process. How we do it is we submit our code, and then it goes to this pipeline. It goes to Gamma, and then after this Gamma, a week later, it passes like QA testing, which is like other teams that test your code to make sure it doesn't break anything in like production. And then after that week, it publishes it to pre-prod, which is pre-production. And then a week after, it goes to production. So there's like a huge, like, I guess, deployment gap, as in like your feature won't make it into production after 2 weeks. But this is all good because it catches bugs in the way, right? Like if something breaks, and then it would catch and then go back to Gamma, and then you fix the bug and then go to prod. So it makes sure the customer doesn't like experiences any of these like errors. But it sucks because you have to wait 2 weeks for your feature to like make it to prod. So I don't really like that. But
waiting time.
What what do you find as the most fulfilling part of the job? Yeah, I think like I said before, like the thing that is most fulfilling is just seeing your impact on the world, right? Because a lot of people actually use what we call far field Fire TV. That's our project. It's a Fire TV stick paired with the Echo device, right? Because without this feature, like people would have to buy like the Fire TV cube, and they would not have to use the Fire TV stick anymore, right? Because now you have the cube, you don't have to use the stick, because they do the same functionality, but the cube has the voice enablement. So you can see this impact in like people around the world, like they're using this remote and your Echo device. So you see such like huge impact on the world because people are just using what you implemented, right? And then people are like, oh, like I really like this feature, and then you can just be like, yeah, I implemented that, yeah. So it's always great.
Weird flex, but
yeah. Yes.
All right.
Yeah, obviously. Yep.
So I mean, coming to the next question. I don't know. I just wonder, like, so there's what part do you hate the most about the company, or do you dislike the most about working with Amazon? So you say that it's a queue, right? So,
yeah.
then what's the favorite part? You know, what's your favorite company's culture or value, and then why?
Yeah, I think it's just answering the same question over and over, right? Because your impact is my favorite part, because since Amazon is so big and it's a lot of customer use impact, and it motivates like developers like you to just keep coming out with features that please people, or like keep coming out with features that help make customer experience a lot like smoother. So I think it really like is my favorite part. It's just to making impact in the world. I think that's what I like the best.
Okay, so I think there's the questions. What kind of advice do you have for freshmen who are just starting and just learning what CS is all about, like you when you first start?
I see. Advice for freshmen, I think right now you just focus on your schoolwork, right? Obviously you just come in, CS is something new, you just kind of focus on your schoolwork, and then do coding challenges on the side. There's something called Lead Code, if you have heard of that. Lead Code is basically just like problems that you can solve for like interview. It's like the best interview prep website, and using this website you should do a lot of problems now until when you get your full-time job, because you need to get your internships as soon as possible, right? Because without internships, you won't have quote unquote experience, and a lot of full-time jobs will require you to have at least an X amount of experience. At Amazon, at least, I know that people require at least 1 year, one internship. So try to get an internship your sophomore to junior year. And to do that, you need to prep right now because one lead code question could take you maybe like 30 to 40 minutes if you want to fully understand how it works. And doing one per day up until you have your first internship like interview could really help you a lot. So obviously really just focus on doing lead code now as part of your quote unquote schoolwork. Yeah, so how much creativity does your job allow? At the moment, for my job title at least, since I'm so new, I basically just take a lot of existing projects and like implement work on top of it. So it doesn't really allow me to create new features yet, besides the one I just mentioned, because that's part of my training to get promoted to the next level. But as you move up to the levels, you have like more because you could design a lot. My title is software engineering 1, where you on software engineering 2 you can design a lot more features and like give a lot more suggestions to other team, because as you know, if you implement feature only for your team, you need support from other teams, right? Because your feature you need to call services downstream. And yeah, you have a lot more, I guess, knowledge since you're moving up a job title, and that just allows you to integrate different parts of the system together and create like higher creativity projects. Yeah. So I think it really depends on your job title. At the moment, not that much, but in the future there'll be a lot more.
I see. So okay, but your vision is you're looking to create some things, some new features for the customer, and I really admire that, and I think that everyone should be, everyone should focus on creating a value, solving the problem, and making it easier for anyone to use their software. So my I would say I'd like to go a little bit beyond the work. So I would just like talk more about what you've been working on beside work. Like what you've been interested in. What do you do for fun? That type of stuff.
Yeah. Like I said before, my interest is just gaming and like dancing. So on the side, I just literally dance, make new like pieces or choreographies, and then just film with my friends for fun. Hit the studio sometimes, but not right now because it's COVID and a lot of studios are like closed. So can't do that much. So I've just been at home playing a lot of games. So that's fun.
Yeah, that's always fun because like I don't have anything against that. I think that it's important, right? To keep also to don't overstress yourself. Cool. So and you mentioned before that you would I think you would be open to give referral. So
Yeah.
I just want to ask more about that. So what kind of aspects or what kind of things are you looking for? Let's say, for example, you want to review one of our CVP students. What are the traits? Or what are the things that you're looking for?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think at least is your knowledge of like data structure. Just make sure you can solve certain problems. I'm not really like, I'm a part of the real Amazon interview process since there's a lot of college recruiting going on right now, and I'm one of the interviewers. But right now, if you want a referral, I just want to know if you can solve problems. So I'm not going to do too much of like behavioral stuff because you can prep that on your own. And I just want to see if you can solve problems and how your resume looks, because if I submit your referral to the Amazon system, they will have to look at your resume and they will give you a coding challenge, right? And I want to know that you can solve this coding challenge, right? So I'm doing a quick like screening in the front to make sure you can like solve these problems before I send you to this referral process, because it's kind of pointless if you can't solve a problem and I send you through the referral process and they give you a coding challenge and you can't solve it. So I just wasted my time. You wasted your time doing this whole application thing. yeah, so just an hour of screening, and just to make sure that you can solve questions.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So
But if you're interested, you can always email me.
cool. And yeah, I'll put the email in the descriptions, or I'll follow up if you guys all like that. Okay. So
Yeah.
aside from that, I think we're pretty much are done with the talks, the speaker talk. So if anyone has any other questions, feel free to leave us a comment. We'll give it for a few more minutes before we close off the sections. Okay.
Yeah, I'm open to any questions. Really, work-wise, school-wise, how I got here, what I did, etc. So, just any questions works.
So I have a question. So my question would be, because you said before you were working while you going to school, and then you have to take care of yourself, as well as helping out your parents too. So I just wonder, how is it? How are you balancing, or how is your time management like back then?
Yeah, obviously, going to school and working is rough, but you have to work with your manager for the store you're working at. I work part time at like a restaurant, so really just make sure that you allocate some time to complete your schoolwork and then go to work. And I usually just complete my schoolwork before my work, so by the time I go to work, I don't have to stress about like having assignments due. But sometimes assignments do pop up on workday, and I just had to ask the manager to reschedule.
I see. So I think it's a little bit flexible in that way. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the name of the extra coding website is LeetCode. It's LeetCode.
Keaton, can you mute yourself? So I think it's still.
Yeah, LeetCode is really good, so you should use it. Just pick an easy question and just test out your knowledge. Yeah, a lot of people use it, so
yeah, I would say
it's one of the best prepping.
That's, if you're looking for any software engineering positions or any internships in the software engineering positions, I think that would be the best way to practice your data structure skill, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So if there's any other questions, thank you so much, Viet, for coming in and have and give us a talk on the Amazon culture, as well as your personal life and what you've been working on so far. Cool.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. It's almost 1:00. I think everyone has class too. So, all right. Take care, everyone. We'll see you in the next episode of the Speaker Talk and Recruiter Talk. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. See ya.
See you guys.